Welcome to my vlog about The Masked Singer US. This is my second vlog about The Masked Singer US Season 7, Episode 4. This one I'm going to be discussing the performances of the characters as well as the clues that I noticed, and I'm even going to include the ones for the character that was eliminated, and I will mention her later. If you have not already seen that, I guess I have that information after. Well, I can wait and do it at the very end instead of where I have it put in there at. But anyway, I'm going to try not to do this real loud because I know that my oldest son is trying to sleep because he has to work tonight, or I guess he has to work tonight. I've been trying to perfect my mobile phone format for my videos, and I decided to do this one at this angle instead of the way that I've been doing it, so it just includes more of my head. And I still need to work on trying to figure out the software that I downloaded years ago. Not years ago, it was last year, possibly late 2020, to try and help me be able to insert pictures into my videos. But like, I thought that maybe one of my sons, especially my youngest one, because he's super, super good with stuff like that, or he used to be anyway. I know stuff has changed a lot, but I thought that maybe he could help me with some of that, and he hasn't really shown any interest in doing that. But anyway, that being said, and if you watched my video yesterday, you know that I am fighting allergies or a cold or something. I still have not applied for the job that I got the application for here a while back because of whatever this is that's going on. I have a sore throat, and I'm almost certain that it's allergies, not COVID, but I don't want to apply for a job and it turned out to have been COVID or something, So you never can tell nowadays, and there's a couple of flus the last that I knew that were going around. Usually flu season, they used to say, it used to crack me up, they used to say that flu season lasted from September to, or no, October, I think it was October to February, and I'm like, really? Because most of the flus I get in September or March or April, so it's kind of good that they've actually expanded that. But to the topic at hand, The Masked Singer, Season 7, Episode 4, the performances that the characters did, which you probably saw them if you're a fan of the show. But I also have all of the clues that I noticed, and I paused it a lot, and some of them I wrote down literally pretty much everything that they said and everything that it showed, because you never know what might be important, right? A lot of it may not mean anything or might be misleading, but a lot of it does mean something. Excuse me. I may have to put a cough drop or Jolly Rancher in my mouth here in a minute. Shameless plug. So yes, The Masked Singer US Season 7 Episode 4, and this is every clue that I noticed and songs that were performed. So, I would also like for you to let me know what you think about my guesses, such as they are. um, I think that one of the characters I may have pegged now, but I've thought that about characters in the past and been so totally, totally wrong. Of course, I got Lil Wayne right. There are a couple of others that I have gotten right. There are some that I probably should have gotten right that I didn't get right. So, that being said, the first one that performed, of course, was Miss Teddy of Team Cuddly. Oh, yes. I was like, why did I write that? It looks to me like her head is a little bit below Nick's shoulder, and I forgot that I was going to look closer at Ringmaster when they showed her again. When Ringmaster first came out, to me it looked like the top of where her face, where the top of her head actually most likely was about even with Nick's head, and I was like, wait, what? And then I looked at it from a different, they showed it from a different angle, and it looked like she was also a little below his shoulder. So I was going to look closer, and I was also going to pay attention to what the heels are like on her costume, like the shoes, whether they're platform shoes or have high heels or flats or what, and I forgot to do that. So at any rate, I asked my handy assistant over here how tall Nick Cannon is, and I'm pretty sure that the past umpteen gazillion times that I had asked, it had told me he was 6 feet tall, but it said he's 5'11". I was like, oh, he shrunk an inch. But anyway, we all do that when we get older. So yes, he is 5'11", and Whoopi Goldberg is 5'5" tall. So that would put her at about a head shorter than him, right? Or at about his shoulder. She, in case you didn't watch my other video, is who I think is Miss Teddy. So the clues that I noticed for her is, she's talking about being on cloud nine. It shows the sky with clouds and a bed, and she calls it Ted bed, and which made me wonder if maybe she does TED things, TED Talks, that's what they're called. And the bed had multicolored bedding set on it. There was a rainbow with clouds, and I had mentioned on my other one that I was pretty sure there were multiple rainbow type clues for Miss Teddy. Whoopi Goldberg, I do not believe, is gay herself, but her daughter is, from what I understand, and she supports the community, the LGBTQ plus community, a whole lot. Whoopi does. So, but yeah, the rainbow had clouds like down at the bottom of it, and she said the bed is extra cuddly like her. She has an adorable laugh. I made a note of that, a really, really cute laugh. And Whoopi has a little laugh. A lot of times she's like, so yeah, I thought that kind of fit her too. And then they showed Santa Claus. Whoopi has been in everything, all sorts of types of movies. So those types of clues, I don't know, that could refer to a lot of people, a lot of things. But there was a Santa Claus. There were guys that were pillow fighting in choir robes. It was not nuns. That made me think of Sister Act. In the other video I said that I was pretty sure it was nuns. I couldn't remember exactly what it was, but yeah, it was guys who were pillow fighting, and were wearing choir robes. She said she's constantly reinventing herself, and she said something about all the Z's you can catch, and I was like, maybe that's important. Maybe it has something to do with Z's, all the Z's you can catch. And then she said the bad side of the bed, and it showed a garbage bag that was a stinky one, which made me think of Jumping Jack Flash. But whenever I first saw the episode, I was like, well, it seems like Jumping Jack Flash has several episodes where there's a lot of trash. So that made me think of that movie as part of why I thought of Whoopi originally also. And then she also said, of course, the good side of the bed, and it showed a director's chair with the LOL emoji. And I was like, okay, well, has Whoopi Goldberg ever directed a movie? I'm almost certain that she has. I was not able to find anything in the short amount of time that I was looking into whether or not she did. See, yeah, it was yesterday afternoon, I believe, that I watched this. It's Sunday now, and I was watching it Saturday evening, I believe, and yeah, I was unable to find out for sure whether she had directed any movies or shows or anything like that, but I was pretty much just using Alexa. And she's got to where I told my son, seems like she might be accurate approximately negative 88% of the time anymore. So anyway, I know she can only, like, I have to ask stuff right, and then she has to have access to it online and stuff like that. But anyway, but yeah, there was the director's chair with an emoji, which made the panel think that maybe she's a comedian, Whoopi Goldberg, comedian. But it made me more think maybe the person directs comedies, because it's a director's chair with an LOL face on it. So yeah, I was like, maybe they direct comedies, right? Oh, yes, and she said, lay your head down in December. Next thing you know, it's May, and they showed a cocoon that turned into a butterfly. Now, later I was looking into some stuff for Ringmaster, and I discovered that Elle King, who is one of my now possibilities for Ringmaster, I discovered that she has an album that is called Butterfly Effect, I believe is what it's called. And I was like, well, wait, is this the one that has the butterfly clue? So I'm looking back through them, and I'm like, oh, wait, no, that was Miss Teddy. So maybe she's Miss Teddy. She could be. But the cocoon part of it got me to thinking about the movie Cocoon, of course. And I asked who all was in it, and Maureen Stapleton was in it. I'm not sure how old she is now, or even if she's still alive now that I think about it. But I was kind of surprised that I believe she was the only female that it named. I was going to ask if Wilford Brimley was still alive, thinking for some reason in my head when it's been initially said Wilford Brimley that Wilford Brimley was a female, and then I went, wait, no, 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 he's the older guy that's been on a whole bunch of stuff. And then I Googled him and I was like, yeah, he's totally the older guy that's been on a bunch of stuff. He's not a woman. So it's obviously not him. But I thought that was pretty funny. And she said, and this is the one that I wrote down pretty much every single thing that she said, because I'm like, I need to know who this is. So they showed, I don't know why I said she said, they showed a sleeping guy who had sunglasses on, which a lot of times those guys are always wearing sunglasses. So sometimes it means something, sometimes it doesn't. But yes, they showed the sleeping guy with sunglasses on. He was taking a nap, you know. And she said, Ted bed, it's the best bed to rest your head. I thought that was cute, so I wrote that down. That probably has nothing to do with anything unless you played for Sleeping Beauty or something like that. But so she performed Tell It to My Heart by Taylor Dayne, which when Taylor Dayne was on there was the only song I could find online that she sang. But yeah, she performed that song and she did a really good job. Now, when Nick asked her about being on the show, she said she felt we all needed the biggest, warmest hug we could get after all we've been through. And I agree with that. And that was what made me think of Free Mom Hugs. If you saw my other video, I said that for some reason I thought of Free Mom Hugs. I couldn't remember for sure why. And the fact that I thought of Free Mom Hugs last night made me look into the person that started the organization, Free Mom Hugs, which is Sarah Cunningham. And I was like, well, it could be Sarah Cunningham. She started that organization, Free Mom Hugs. And she also said, quote, I love you. I want you to feel loved, end quote. So see, this makes me think of Sarah Cunningham, who started the Free Mom Hugs organization. And she sounded a bit southern to me, or perhaps British, I noticed. So I looked up where Sarah Cunningham is from, because I'm pretty sure that Whoopi Goldberg is from California. I could be wrong about that. But ironically, Sarah Cunningham is from Oklahoma City. I thought that was very comical because I live in the Oklahoma City metro area. So, yeah, I did not know that she was from Oklahoma City. Alexa, where is Whoopi Goldberg from?
Whoopi Goldberg was born in New York City, New York in 1955.
Alexa, stop. Okay, so Whoopi is from New York City, so like if she, I was thinking from time to time, it seems to me like maybe she does have an accent. So like if she grew up in the Bronx or something like that, or people put on accents, like I mentioned yesterday, I thought Duff Goldberg did a pretty good job of doing a Scottish accent. He had me fooled. I was thinking he was someone that was Scottish. I'm no expert, though I am a big fan of Tommy Flanagan and Gordon Ramsay and Billy Boyd and some other Scottish actors. So he had me fooled, as I said. And I made note of who all of the judges thought that she was, because I think that might help figure out who she is, right? So Jeannie thought that she was perhaps Lauryn Hill or Vanessa Williams, and I'm like, wasn't Vanessa Williams already on there? Which they said at one point in time that there is no rule that says that once someone has been on there, they can't be on there again. But I don't think it's Vanessa Williams. But because of her tone, Jeannie guessed Jill Scott. I know Jill Scott. I don't know that I have ever seen her sing, but you know, could be her, who knows. But I loved Nick's reaction to her explanation for her guess. It literally cracked me up. I was laughing so hard. He has this look on his face, and then he's like, you know. But to me, clearly, Nick probably knows who Teddy is. He often knows who they are. And there was one of them that was on their last season that I read recently said that he felt like his cologne gave away to the audience, and some of the panel members and stuff who he was. I thought that was interesting. That was something I had never thought about before. So, Robin thought of Cece Winan, or Winans, but then thought of another Cece Peniston. I'm not sure who she is, but it could be her. The audience really seemed to like that guess. So clearly they know who she is. Nicole thinks Miss Teddy could be Loretta Devine, who is an actress and singer. She's also a comedian. On the other ones, I think I'll only tell people the panel guest who I find interesting for one reason or other. And I didn't tell, for the most part, who they thought the other people were, though I might mention some of them. And of course, they usually only show who 3 of them think that the people are until someone gets revealed, and then they let all 4 of them tell you who they think they are. But I thought it would have been really interesting to hear who Ken thought that she was. So the next one that performed was Hydra from Team Bad. The first clue that they showed for him. And I wish I had paid more attention to the TVs for some of these. I know there was one of them that had like a black block looking thing next to the side of the TV, and I was like, what is that? I was trying to figure out what it was, and I couldn't tell. And my TV is pretty big. Not giant, but it's pretty big. So they showed a shark poster that was on a beach with a carnival background. Made me think of, like, there's the boardwalk in Jersey City, is it? Not Jersey City. I'm not going to remember, but it's in New Jersey, where the boardwalk is, or Staten Island in Manhattan. Made me think of something along that line. And they said they've been bad boys a long time. Click. My brain went off right there. Or not off, but I thought of something. Bad boys for a long time. I went, whoa, wait a minute. I think I know who this is. And then last night when I was talking to my son about this, I remembered that one of the panelists mentioned Will Smith. It was Ken, picking up on a Will Smith vibe. And I was like, oh, they did say Bad Boys, and him and Martin Lawrence were in Bad Boys. So, could possibly be, but I feel like they would have performed better than Hydra. No offense to Hydra. And that's part of why I feel like I know for a fact who Hydra is now. Not sure how many are in there. Could be 8 for all I know. You'll figure that out here in a minute why I said that. So, yes, they said they've been bad boys for a long time. When you've been bad boys for as long as us, so they basically said they've been bad boys for a long time. They said you want flavor that lasts just as long, and it's an advertisement for gum, triple head gum. A lot of flavor, and then they showed those dang Miami skis and the beach ball, and the Miami skis had me so confused, and the beach ball had something on it. I couldn't tell what it was, but I noticed later on they showed it like closer up. So they said, with your baddest buds at your side, and I just remembered at this point that I just remembered at this point when I initially watched this, I thought of the boys from Jackass, specifically Johnny Knoxville and Steve-O, right? Because the baddest buds thing, that sounded like something that Steve-O would say to me right there. And then I'm like, watching it this time, the minute they said, when you've been bad boys as long as we have, and I went, it's the guys from Jackass, right? That's why I say there could be 8 people in there for all I know. I don't think there are. I think there are 3. I honestly do. Possibly only 2, but I think there's 3. And I'll explain why here in a minute, though I really only noticed 2 voices, 2 distinct voices. But I forgot who it was. There was one that had 3 people before that, Hanson, I believe it was, that only one of them talked for a while, and then 2 of them sang, and so you weren't sure how many there were. So they said you can do anything you put your mind to. You can do anything you put your mind to, and I'm like, okay, see, to me that makes me think of Jackass again, because they did all sorts of crazy stuff, right? Anything you put your mind to. I don't know why I have the word C written over here. I'm like, see, I guess I'm like, that has to be the guys from Jackass because anything you can put your mind to. Um, and then they said, but first, which also made me think of the guys from Jackass, known for putting stuff up their booties, even though they shouldn't be doing it. But it's a phrase that they use a lot, not only in relation to that sort of stuff, but when they're, if they're fixing to do a stunt, then one of them will be like, but first, But it could be someone else. It could be like a news anchor or somebody. They use that phrase a lot too, right? But I'm just totally, totally, totally thinking of the guys from Jackass. So there was the 3 that they showed on the 8 ball instead of an 8. It showed a 3. So probably aren't 8 of them in there, right? And to me, initially, yes, I was like, oh, 3, and then there's the Amigos thing, probably 3 Amigos. That's too obvious, right? So the 3, to me, means that there are most likely 3 people in there, or it could just be referring to the fact that there are the 3 heads. But they talked about triple a lot, so I'm like, yeah, there are probably actually 3 of them in there. So they said make sure fresh flavors on the cards, and so at this point I'm like, well, also it could be some cooks because they mentioned flavor a lot. And that was also making me think of Flavor Flav. I think it's Robin that has guessed him a lot. But the constant mentioning of flavor, I'm like, maybe it's a cook, maybe it's, or maybe it's some cooks, maybe it's Flavor Flav and someone else because he was in a group. There are just so many possibilities for Hydra still that I'm like kind of confused. But so, of course, the 8 ball says, ask your amigos. Looks like I wrote amigos, but it says ask your amigos. And I'm like, the guys on Jackass are all friends. They've known each other for years and years and years. And I also wrote out here to the side when I was listening to their voices, as a side note, I was like, ooh, this could actually be Terry Crews and Andy Samberg from Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and there could only be 2 of them in there. Terry Crews' voice is generally almost as high as Andy Samberg's would be, but sometimes he does that deep husky voice when he's being goofy, and the person seemed to be being goofy, so that made me think of them for a little bit there when I was listening to the 2 distinct voices. So the thing that was on the beach ball was a bull. Someone else had a bull as their clue. I want to say it was Thingamabob. So that made me wonder if maybe some of them are from the Chicago area, or who did an episode or perhaps part of one of their movies of Running with the Bulls. The guys from Jackass, that's right. And they showed red Solo cups, which of course made me think of Toby Keith. They were like strung on a thing that like, would normally have lights on it. They showed red Solo cups. I'm like, oh, Toby Keith red Solo cups. Nah, it's party guys. The guys from Jackass. I'm almost guaranteeing that is who Hydra is. I could be wrong, but there are so many clues in this first episode with them on it that to me point directly to the guys from Jackass. Now the deal is, which guys from Jackass is it and how many of them are in there? Is Jeff Tremaine there? Is it Johnny Knoxville and Steve-O only? Is it them and Bam Margera? Is Wee Man in there with someone? Like it could be a lot of different people from that show. Chris Pontus, sadly it can't be Ryan Dunn because he passed away in that Porsche accident. He was my favorite. But anyway, so some other stuff that they said, or that they showed, their clues. There was the ATM machine. Jenny, was talking about the Big Lebowski, and she's like, they had to get a ransom. Well, the guys on Jackass are always doing stunts at ATMs, goofing on people at ATMs. One of them dressing up like an old lady or an old man or something, and walking by and their butt falls off or something at the ATM. And that also was part of what pointed me toward Brooklyn Nine-Nine, because there are a lot of episodes on there where something is going on at the ATM. If you watch Brooklyn Nine-Nine, a lot of ATM scenes on there as well. So yeah, that totally pointed me toward one or the other of them. And then they talk again about the triple head gum, and they said to bust away bust away bad breath, bust away the guys from Jackass. That made me think of, and I want to say that they also said something in there about blowing up, and I was like, the guys from Jackass, right? So anyway, but that could be referring, the bust away bad breath could be referring to cops busting people, so it could be people from Brooklyn Nine-Nine, right? And it could even be three of them. So I've lost my spot. Oh, so yeah, they did cheers and a joke at Ken. It was like, yay, you know, celebrating, and then they made the comment about anyone can do something or the other, even Ken. I forgot what the joke was exactly now. Probably about the having better breath, even Ken. So I was looking at the outfit, and to me, it does appear to have 3 places for faces, 3 circles that I noted in the outfit. Now, the thing that got me was I could not tell if the one in the center was actually as soft and kind of mesh looking as the other 2 were, or if it was a harder circle. And I feel like even if there were 2 in there, they might do that to give it more ventilation and to make people think there's 3 in there, right? And as I noted on my other video, or stated on my other video, it could also be one person that's really good at doing voices, like the guy from Beverly Hills Cop that did all the voices that I can't think of his name, or Eddie Murphy, or Jeff Dunham, just anyone who does a lot of voices it could be. And just be one person in there, though it's a big outfit for one person to be able to, or to have to tote around on the stage, in my opinion. It's only got 3 legs, but they could have a way that it moves without them actually having to walk if there are 3 of them in there also. I don't think they're jumping in there. It doesn't move that way. It seems like they are walking, which makes you think maybe there are only 2 people in it. So I do honestly think that for now, you know, I'm like, but which 3? So for now, I'm saying Bam Margera, who is 5'8" tall, Steve-O, who is 5'10" tall. Okay, I was thinking he was 5'11", 5'10" tall. And Johnny Knoxville, who is 6'1" tall. And when I initially wrote this down, I wrote down that Johnny Knoxville was 6'11" tall. And I looked at it and went, no, he's not 6'11" tall. But I noticed on Hydra, when they showed it, like the things for the faces seemed to be kind of angled, about like at a 30-degree, maybe even less angle. They were at different heights. So I was like, ooh. So yeah, it could totally be those 3 guys from Jackass if there are 3 people in there, right? Because they're all just a couple of inches different height from each other. So when they were asked if 3 heads are better than 1, which Nick asked them, are 3 heads better than 1? One of them asked in response, quote, "Would you like to step inside and find out?" End quote. That specifically kind of made me go back to thinking that there are only 2 of them in there, because when he asked if 3 heads are better than 1, they said, "Would you like to step inside and find out?" Made Jenny think of a puppeteer, made me think there's only 2 of them possibly in there, which with the guys from Jackass, I would go with Steve-O and Johnny Knoxville. When they were singing, there were a couple of times that one of them, like they made comments and stuff, and there were a couple of times that one of them would be making comments and the other one would be laughing. That totally makes me think of the guys from Jackass too. So, you know, they're always goofing on each other and saying something and cracking each other up. So I made note of a couple of people who some of them thought they were. Ken and Robin did guess the 3 Amigos, which I think is a good guess also. But as I said, to me, that would be too obvious for it to be correct. But it would be cool if it was them. Oh, and I made a note out to the side because I forgot to make the note when I was initially putting the stuff down about who it was. But they performed Hey Soul Sister by Train, which was very entertaining. They didn't do a great job of singing, but it was very entertaining. And great song selection. So because of the thing about being bad boys as long as them, though I'm still going with the cast from Jackass. Um, Specifically Bam, Steve-O, and Johnny Knoxville. It could only be two of them, and then I'll have to calculate which ones I think it would probably be more likely to be Steve-O and Johnny Knoxville. Hopefully Steve-O is still sober. I didn't speak to him, but I saw him at the college I was going to at one point. He was there to meet a friend in our forensic science building. And I'm looking at him going, that looks like Steve-O, but surely it's not. And then I heard, I think it was about 4 days later, I heard someone asking someone else if they met him when they were in the forensic science building. He was there waiting for one of the professors, and I was like, I guess that was him. I should have talked to him and got his autograph and stuff. But anyway, so the next one that performed was my favorite, who is the Ringmaster. And I'm going to have to get myself a drink because this is long and I have a cold. Sorry, guys. I hate doing super long videos, but you know me, I love to talk. My dad was a truck driver, and I should have been too. But anyway, that's a whole other story. So, as I said, the next one that performed was my favorite from this group, which is Ringmaster. I like all the others also, but I really loved Ringmaster because she did an excellent job, and I love her outfit. So the first clue of hers that I noticed was a white picket fence in front of where the TV was. I think I only made a note of the actual TV on two of these, I guess, now that I think about it. So she said, step right up and feast your eyes on a fantastic, amazing, spectacular snack. Don't tell your parents, though, in so many words. And it went from boring cereal to circus ringos. Which made me think that maybe she thinks she went from being plain to being something more exciting, or someone more exciting, I should say. And I did note that at the very, very first, there were a whole bunch of bookshelves that were covered in books, like as though perhaps from a library or something, and I'm not sure why, but that made me think of Harry Potter. It really did. I'm not sure why. But yeah. So, then they showed a cup with the state of Montana on it and a picture of Miley Cyrus. And she said something about a secret weapon, and she mentioned All Night Long, and I was like, who sings All Night Long? Of course, that's Lionel Richie, which made me think perhaps of Nicole Richie or her sister. And then they showed a board with squares on it and one X. And anytime they show anything that's got like an X or an O or just the board thing for a tic-tac-toe, the panel was like, oh, it's someone from TikTok. Well, that's TikTok, not Tic-Tac, but a lot of times that is what it refers to. But I feel like if I went on there, I might just do that so people would think that I was a TikTok star, even though I don't intend to ever use TikTok because of all the, they just majorly spammed everything with advertisements early into their existence, and I was like, no. Anyway, I may use it one of these days, who knows, but so... she said something about one bowl and said it's extremely sugary, which made me think of extremely sweet, of course. I want to say there were a couple of mentions of sweet in the thing about the cereal, of course, because it's a sugary cereal. And I noticed that her clues have X's and O's in it, LOL, and then of course I was like, well, could it be Elle King, because she's the one that sings the song X's and O's. Though I had to ask who it was. And then, of course, as I said, I also found that her first album was called Butterfly Effect, which took me back to Miss Teddy and made me go, well, she could be Miss Teddy. So, but the butterfly thing could be a lot. So could the X's and the O's. And then they showed a bottle of, I think it was supposed to be syrup, but to me it looked more like bourbon. Might have been supposed to be bourbon, I don't know. It said Sweet Southern on it. And so I was like, I'm going back to Emily Osment. I was like, I swear that when I was thinking someone was Emily Osment before, I looked into her and it said that she was born in Birmingham, Alabama or someplace like that. But when I looked her up yesterday, it said that she was born in Los Angeles. So I don't know. I was confused. I was like, really? Because that girl sounds a whole lot Southern to me. So I don't know. But then, so she said, start your day ready to take over the world. And she said, so good. On top of tasting like cotton candy and smelling like a circus, which every time it says that, I'm like, I'm not sure that's a good thing. But she said, get extra special. You get an extra special treat in every box, and it showed a Golden State Class C driver's license, which of course is California, and that had taken me back to Elle King. She has an album. Elle King has an album that's called America's Sweetheart. In addition to, I believe it was her first album was the Butterfly Effect one. She grew up in California, but Emily Osment did too, as I said. And she says, it's delish in your dish. Honestly, she just sounds like Emily Osment to me. And she performed The Climb by Miley Cyrus, and as I've said before, I think she did a totally, completely excellent job on it. Alexa, where is Emily Osment from?
Emily Osment was born in Los Angeles, California in 1992.
Alexa, stop. So it may be somebody else that I was thinking was the same character as I thought was her last season that was actually born in Birmingham, Alabama. I don't remember for sure, but for some reason I thought that she was from the South, but apparently she's not. And neither of the ones that I am considering for her are from the South. So I don't know if it's either of them or not. I thought of Anne Hathaway for a bit, and that was when I thought that she looked a little bit taller. And of course, a lot of the clues could really just refer to anyone, but there's the Montana with a picture of Miley Cyrus on it that makes me think that she was on Hannah Montana, which might be too obvious of a clue for Emily Osment. I don't know. There were other females who were on there from time to time, and even more regularly. So she got a standing ovation. That's how good she was. Nick asked her how she was feeling after her performance, and she said she's so grateful for being there, and she thanked them for having her. She's very polite, which made me think of someone from the South again. Then she told Nick it's good. Then she told Nicole it's good to see her again. So, that could be a lot of people from her saying that, but it made me think of the Pussycat Dolls, and I was looking at it. Apparently, Carmen Electra performed with the Pussycat Dolls at one point, but I'm like, I don't know what all of those would have to do with Carmen Electra either. There are a lot of members from the Pussycat Dolls. So John Oates from the band Holland Oates said that he knows she's a star. Now it's time to make her dreams come true. So I was like, then it could be someone from TikTok, because the way he said that makes it sound like she may be someone who is not really well known yet. And I don't like it when there are people on there that a whole lot of people don't know. It's a good way to get known, I guess. Can I be on The Masked Singer? Anyway. But yeah, it could be someone that I don't know who is. Or it could be like, Emily Osment. I think she may have made an album. She may be the one actually that had the Butterfly album instead of Elle King, now that I think about it. But anyway, she has done singing, but it's not like that was her forefront, if you know what I'm saying. So it could be someone like that has mostly done acting and is wanting to do singing instead. So next, I didn't write down who any of them thought that she was, I don't guess. But, so next came Lemur of Team Cuddly. She was very flirty, was the first thing that I noticed about her. There was a retro television and TV, from probably maybe the 60s or 70s, possibly even before that. She did an ad for skin cream. There was a sun with sunglasses that had a flower headband, which made me think of a flower child, someone from the 60s. There was a guitar lamp, a dresser with a clock, sunglasses, a purse, and other stuff on it. A lot of stuff on it. Too much for me to look at everything on it. There was Heart magazine, spelled H-A-R-T, with her in a red convertible on the front of it. She said, whether you're puffy, fluffy, or downright scruffy, which I thought was funny, so I just wrote that down. Lemur's Nocturnal Night Cream. Oh, she said, quote, Lemur's Nocturnal Night Cream will keep those dark circles dark and your rock star life in perfect harmony, end quote. And I completely missed hearing the last part of that until I watched it last night. The part about the rock star life, because I kept being like, why are they thinking that she's married to a rock star or is a rock star or something? Is that because of the guitar? That's, the only clue I saw along that line. But anyway, she rolled what looked more like a coconut than a stone, in my opinion, across the desk thingy to one of the guys. And then about the skin cream, it said vegan and cruelty free with instant results guaranteed, or I guess she said that. She performed I Feel the Earth Move by Carole King. Ken felt like she was a model when she performed, and they loved her performance. So then Nick asked if she has a lot of experience dazzling an audience, and she replied she likes to think that she does. She, quote, she, quote, loves the lights, camera, and action, end quote. And so I guess I will leave that at that for right now. I can't really think of who it was that I thought she was, and I thought that perhaps she was Jennifer Aniston, maybe Kate Hudson. She kind of sort of made me think of the way she moved about the stage and stuff like that. But I didn't really think it was Kate Hudson because I don't know that she has done any commercials for skincare products. So I was like, I don't know. So, sorry this is so super long, but I'm talking about all these clues, y'all. Try to keep watching. Bear with me. So the last to perform was Armadillo of Team Good. I also made a note about his TV. And I noted that he kicks a lot when he was walking out onto the stage when he initially came out. So they showed an old-timey yet sci-fi looking TV. Made me think sort of a computer type TV or something. He said he has a tough exterior. They showed red rocks all around him. There was a small trailer, and I was telling my son about this part. Okay, I swore when he went this way, it was a small trailer with what looked like white folding chairs out in front of it, and he was like talking some, and then he went back this way, and it looked like a fairly decent sized RV and had semi-fancy lawn furniture out in front of it. So I'm like, I guess that was a transformation, perhaps. I was like, wait, maybe it did do that. Maybe that was like he went from being like this to being like that. But that made me think of Mel Gibson, the movie Lethal Weapon. I I'm probably going to forget what it's called again. I keep trying to say Die Hard. But the Lethal Weapon movie, he lived out in the desert in that little trailer with the lawn furniture out front, right? So, and of course there was an umbrella along with the lawn furniture. There was a grill. There was a grill and a picnic table. It had a guy and a girl sitting there. The guy was wearing an armadillo hat. There were some mother-in-law's tongues. Those are plants, for those of you who may not know that. He said sometimes his shell is scarred, dented, and straight up bruised. So I'm like, yeah, he's someone that fights. Whether it be in movies or in real life, he's definitely someone that fights. They showed hot dogs on a grill, and now this is making me think of George Foreman. I did not think of that before. Anyway, they showed hot dogs on a grill. They showed a beefcake, as I had mentioned in my other video. I had icing up here and icing type stuff down here and a hamburger in the middle, and was literally a beefcake. And he said his must-have product is Armadillo Scrubs, which are scouring pads. There were sparkles around some sunglasses, And so at this point, I just started putting in notes about who the person, or about the person that I think it is. I think Armadillo is Jean-Claude Van Damme. And at this point, when I initially watched it, they showed the sunglasses with the sparkles all around them. And I believe it was Ken is like, who wears sunglasses? And, or maybe one of the other panelists, and I'm like, literally everyone, but who's known for wearing sunglasses? Arnold Schwarzenegger, Jean-Claude Van Damme, a couple of action stars I can think of that are known for wearing sunglasses. Of course, Jenny, or no, it was Nicole, named Eric Estrada. So maybe she's the one that was like, who wears sunglasses? But yeah. So I made a note here that part of Jean-Claude Van Damme's signature look is sunglasses, and that when I googled that yesterday, or I guess I asked Alexa, actually, stop listening. But I guess I asked her whether he wears sunglasses. I didn't ask if he's known for wearing sunglasses. I just asked if he wears sunglasses. And her response was that, according to this person on this website, he does wear sunglasses. He made them a large part of his signature look. And a quote from him is, said that he made hiding behind sunglasses a part of his signature look. And a quote from him is, the darker the glasses, the better. So he is very, very well known for wearing sunglasses. And that was one of the first things that made Jean-Claude Van Damme come to my mind, other than the fact that it's obviously someone who fights, right? Or is in movies about fighting or something like that. So he's talking about the scouring pads, the Armadillo scrubs, scouring pads. He says it wipes out scum like nothing else, leaves the shell looking shiny and lustrous. And then they showed a bow and arrow. And he said he chases down his enemies, and I have abbreviated Jean-Claude Van Damme to JCVD, in case you start wondering who I'm talking about. So JCVD uses a compound bow in the movie Cyborg. So there's a connection to him for the bow and arrow. He said he snuggles up to his lady, and Jean-Claude Van Damme has been married since 1999. And said he always looks and feels great. And when he was talking about, like, when he's concluding, when he's finishing up his commercial, his ad thing, he says, that's the dillo, which I thought was funny. He said more than that, but he said, that's the dillo, and I thought that part was funny, so I wrote that part down. So, as I said, well, okay, Jenny said they got the clue tackle. Like her and Ken are discussing it. They got the clue tackle, or she says he said he didn't get a whole lot from it, I think is what he said. And she said, we got tackle. But I was like, I didn't see or hear anything about tackle. And then I'm like, oh wait, yes I did. These scrubs help him tackle dirt or something along that line, was what he said. They help tackle the dirt and grime or something like that, he said. So he performed Secret Agent Man, which is a song by Johnny Rivers. I did not feel like he was one of the best performers, but as I said about Hydra, he was very entertaining. Oh, and so yeah, I was listening to him singing, and Jenny had guessed Vin Diesel because she's talking about him saying he shines his shell, and she's like, he has to shine that dome of his. And I'm listening to Armadillo sing, and I'm like, no, definitely not Vin Diesel. Vin Diesel is one of the people that I have said I would love to see go on here, but if anyone has seen The Pacifier, he sings oh my gosh, I'm gonna forget what it's called. Oh my gosh, the Panda song, Peter Panda. He sings it to the little boy named Peter. Anyway, he sings the song to the little boy, Peter Panda, I believe is what it's called, the Peter Panda song. And I feel like his voice would stand out too much, which is what I said about Willie Nelson and Dolly Parton. So there are certain people I don't think will ever be on there just because their voices are so distinctive, like Macy Gray. Alanis Morissette, you know, people that have very, very distinct voices, I do not think will ever be on there. And Vin Diesel is one of them. And he didn't sound anything like Vin Diesel to me. His tone when he was singing made me think of Jean-Claude Van Damme. Now, Jean-Claude Van Damme does have a heavy accent the majority of the time, and he is from Belgium. And I have seen him in a couple of things where he talked without the accent. So I feel like he could probably talk without an accent for the show if he really wanted to. And while he was doing his performance, he also kicked several times. He said, sorry, I'm going to pull a firefly and get choked. Sorry, guys. This is one of the most important parts about Armadillo's thing. So I hope at least some of you are still watching. He said, quote, he, quote, was born on a mountain and raised in a cave. Scrapping and singing is all I crave, end quote. Again, he said, he, quote, was born on a mountain and raised in a cave. Scrapping and singing is all I crave, end quote. And Ken is like, scrapping and singing. And then he added, quote, that's a clue, end quote. And I'm going, yeah, Jean-Claude Van Damme has a sense of humor. So do several other actors. I kind of thought of John Cena when he said that, but I feel like it is Jean-Claude Van Damme, and I'm fixing to explain more of that to you. And of course, I noted that he does have a sense of humor, which most people do. If you don't, then you suck. Get out of my life. Anyway, just joking. But anyway, so I noted, because him saying he was born on a mountain and raised in a cave, I went, maybe this is something about the progress of this person's career, right? Maybe he's not just talking about an armadillo. Maybe the scrapping and singing part is not the only part that's a clue here. And as I said, I did find some music videos that have Jean-Claude Van Damme in them. One of them, he is the person who is actually singing, though most of it he has his back facing towards you. But I did some research into his first movie, and then of course on down the line, because he said he was born on a mountain, right? Jean-Claude Van Damme's first movie is Bloodsport, which takes place in Hong Kong, which is surrounded by mountains. And I'm pretty sure it's one of those movies, y'all know the martial arts movies where there's the long staircase that goes up the side of the mountain and they have to run up and down the stairs as part of their training for the martial arts thing. I'm pretty sure that Bloodsport is one of those movies. I intend to watch it so I can make sure whether it is or not. But they're like, I tried to ask the person over here whether or not there were mountains in Hong Kong. It wouldn't tell me. I looked it up on or not in Hong Kong, in that movie, and I Googled it, couldn't find anything. So finally I'm like, well, I'm just going to find out whether or not there are mountains around Hong Kong. So I asked the person over there if there are mountains around Hong Kong, and they said there are several mountains near Hong Kong. I found 54 mountains in close proximity to Hong Kong and 57 in near proximity. And I was like, yeah, so okay, there are mountains in Hong Kong. So yeah, Bloodsport has mountains, right? How many of y'all have seen The Expendables 2? Everyone, right? Everyone has seen The Expendables 2, which Jean-Claude Van Damme is in. I want to say he plays for a guy on there named Jean Villain, or perhaps John Villain. But I think he's a good guy. I think he's a good guy. I think he's in charge of The Expendables. I could be wrong. He could be back. Dude, it's been forever since I've seen any of those movies. Though I did watch the original one probably about a year ago. But anyway, I need to watch that one again too, I guess. But yeah, Jean-Claude Van Damme was on The Expendables 2, and there is a certain specific cave that appears in that movie that is used as their base. I don't remember if it's the base for the good guys or the bad guys. I think it's the good guys, though. And I am pretty sure he leads the good guys. Could be wrong about that. If y'all know, make sure and let me know that I'm wrong about him being a good guy. But I think he's a good guy in charge on the Expendables 2. And their headquarters is in that cave. So he's born on a mountain, raised in a cave. So I'm like, yeah, to me, it's just more and more pointing toward Jean-Claude Van Damme. Plus, I think that he just sounds like him. So, yeah. What I actually wrote down here last night after I researched this was Bloodsport was his first movie and takes place in Hong Kong, which is surrounded by mountains. There is a cave in the Expendables 2, which JCVD is also in. Just saying. So those are the clues that I noticed. I'm sure there were other clues that I probably didn't notice. Those are the songs that they performed. I hope I remembered to include what everyone performed. And I did not say a while ago, I forgot I was going to go back to this. So now I'm going to tell who was revealed in case anyone is watching that has not seen that part. I had this part written to talk about right after I discussed that character, but I decided I would wait because I do think there are probably some people out there that haven't seen that part yet and would prefer to watch it for themselves. So, Lemur was the one that was revealed. My grandson has woke up. Hi, Joey. Anyway, Lemur was the one that was revealed, and I lost where I was at. Ken initially guessed that she was Jennifer Aniston, and Jenny guessed that she was Goldie Hawn. And as I said, she did make me think of Kate Hudson, who is Goldie Hawn's daughter, but she was Christy Brinkley. So, that is all she wrote for this episode of my Masked Singer video. So I'm going to check on my grandson over here. I think he may be going to go back to sleep. But anyhow, he has the same stuff that I do, allergy, cold, whatever it is. But everyone have a great whatever time of night or day it is in your part of the world. Stay safe and stay positive. And I'm going to be making a Mystery Mondays blog tomorrow. So make sure that you tune in for that. Subscribe, share on your social media, let people know about my channel. Thank you all for watching. I almost picked up my phone without stopping the video. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. Appreciate you.